friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today I'm issuing myself a challenge for the month of March, and that is, can I read 50 books in the month of March? And you may be thinking to yourself, Taylor, that's a lot of books, and you would be very right. However, for those of you that don't know, March is typically considered a middle grade reading month for most people in the reading community. And what that means is books typically for ages between about 8 and 12, older elementary school age reading levels. So that does sound a little young for someone almost 28 years old. However, I personally love reading middle grade books. I think they're so sweet and nostalgic and heartwarming. So if you've seen any of my bookshelf tours, have amassed quite a collection of middle grade books over the years. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to cull that collection a little bit, read some of those that have been sitting on my shelf for far too long. And yeah, without further ado, we're going to talk about the 50 books that I plan on reading in March. Before we get started into this video, I will give the quick disclaimer of apologies for the lighting. I'm sitting in front of my sliding glass door, so the lighting is probably going to change a bit throughout this video, as well as the guinea pig noise in the background. You are currently sitting directly in front of their cage, and they're rowdy today, so apologies if they're a bit on the noisy side. Yep. Okay, let's get into it. Alright, so as aforementioned, I am trying to read 50 plus books this month, which typically would be a bit ambitious, but since most of these books are under or around 200 pages, and again, for elementary school age people, I think it'll be pretty easy for me to be able to get through quite a few of these. So most of them are going to be coupled into series, which I'll go through, and then I have a few standalones, which we will touch on as well. But the first series that I'm wanting to accomplish is the remainder of my Roald Dahl books. Now, I've read almost every single Roald Dahl book, like middle school, elementary school age book that he's put out, and I have 4 left, and those are The Boy, Tales of Childhood, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and 6 More, Danny, the Champion of the World, and Going Solo. Okay, so my next, I think, biggest series that I'm now going to be trying to work through is The Littles by John Peterson. I have clearly quite a collection here that I'm going to try and work through. The first, of course, being The Littles, The Littles Take a Trip, The Littles to the Rescue, The Littles Have a Wedding, The Littles Give a Party, The Littles and the Trash Tinies, The Littles Go Exploring, The Littles and the Lost Children, The Littles and Their Amazing New Friend, The Littles and the Great Halloween Scare, and The Littles and the Terrible Tiny Kid. Next series that I'm going to be working through, or rather I should say author that I'm trying to work through, is the remainder of my Beverly Cleary series. Again, Beverly Cleary is an author very nostalgic for me from growing up when I was younger, and I do want to read all of her children's books in my lifetime, if not by the end of this year. So I do have, I believe, about 15 left of her books. So those are 15 by Beverly Cleary, Dear Mr. Henshaw, Strider, The Mouse and the Motorcycle, Runaway Ralph, it's a tongue twister, Ralph S. Mouse, Socks, Emily's Runaway Imagination, Sister of the Bride, and Jean and Johnny. Next series that I want to complete during this middle grade March readathon for myself is the remainder of the Doll People series. I did just finish The Doll People, the first book in the series, last month, and wanted to complete the series, most of which I've read before except for this one, which I believe came out in 2014, and I recently found it at a thrift store, and I didn't even realize there was a last book in this series, so I'm super excited about that. But the remaining 3 that I have to read is The Meanest Doll in the World by Anne M. Martin and Laura Godding, The Runaway Dolls, and The Doll People Set Sail, which is missing a dust jacket but is the most beautiful undercover I've ever seen in my life. Okay, 2 more nostalgic type of series that I want to get to this month is the Judy Blume Fudge series, which of course includes Double Fudge, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing, Super Fudge, Fudgemania, and otherwise known as Sheila the Great. Another series that I'm trying to complete or get a pretty big way through this month is the Frog Princess series by Edie Baker. Again, a more nostalgic read for me from growing up as a kid, and I've kind of collected these series over the years as I find them in thrift stores, used bookstores. I just love it. I think it's kind of like a fun treasure hunt as I find them. So this series, which includes a few more that aren't here, but I am going to try and get to at least 5 of this series since they are a little bit longer, includes The Frog Princess, Dragon's Breath, Once Upon a Curse, No Place for Magic, and The Salamander Spell. Last 2 series I'm going to try and prioritize this month. The first one is Mrs. Pigglewiggle. So again, a book that I adored growing up as a kid. I loved Mrs. Pigglewiggle. I have a treasury bind-up of her first 3 books, which is Mrs. Pigglewiggle, Mrs. Pigglewiggle's Magic, and Hello, Mrs. Pigglewiggle. And then I have 2 of her other ones, which is Mrs. Pigglewiggle's Farm and Happy Birthday, Mrs. Pigglewiggle. All of these are, of course, by Betty McDonald. The other series I'm going to try and finish, since they are a little bit longer, is Ella Enchanted and Ogre Enchanted. This is a recent release that's a companion novel to Ella Enchanted that came out, I think, a couple years ago. So I'm excited to kind of see what this entails. I love Ella Enchanted, and the movie with Anne Hathaway is fantastic. Okay, so those are all the series I'm going to try and get to this month. Now for a couple standalones or one-offs that I want to get to. The first is The Trumpet of the Swan by E.B. White. I love E.B. White's books so much. Charlotte's Web is one of my all-time favorite children's books of all time, so I haven't read this in years and thought it would be super fun to read this month. Next is How to Train Your Dragon by Cressida Cowell. Kenny and the Dragon by Tony Di Terezzi. I know I totally butchered that, I apologize. But oh, look at that artwork. Then we have Jack, the Fairly True Tale of Jack and the Beanstalk by Liesl Sturdiff. I know I'm mispronouncing some of these names, I do apologize. Then we have Pigs Might Fly by Dick King-Smith. The Enormous Egg by Oliver Butterworth. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang by Ian Fleming. I love this art. Then we have 2 Raggedy Andy stories and Raggedy Ann stories, both of which I think are just adorable. Another book by Dick King-Smith is Funny Frank, which just looks so cute. Then for more current releases from MiddleGrade world, I have Castle in the Mist by Amy Efferin. Extraordinary Birds by Sandy Stark McGinnis, which just looks so nice and magical. And When Life Gives You Mangoes, which I think came out either this year or last year, by Kareem Gedden. Alright friends, so that is everything I am planning on reading for the month of March. I hope you guys enjoyed my very ambitious TBR, but as I mentioned, I love reading middle grade books, so I'm really excited and think this is going to be a fun challenge to complete. Also, I am planning on putting out weekly reading vlogs as I try to work through this massive pile in the month of March, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And yeah, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to see more of my face, and let me know down in the comments below what you guys are planning on reading for March, as I love to talk with you guys there. Alright, that's all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!